In this video, we're going to use a pivot table to determine toy sales by date and time. The name of our file is called Pivot Time Hours Toys. So once again, we're going to be using this pivot table to determine our sales by date and by time. So we have a table here with a number of fields. I'm not going to go through all of the fields. To determine the size of the table, Control End, and it's telling us we have 1001 rows, the top row of course being our field names. Control Home will take us to the top of the table. I'm going to position my cursor directly beneath the field names or header row, and I'm going to turn this table into an Excel table. I'm going to do that by going Control T, get this dialog box, and we're going to click OK. We have our various field names, and in all cases there is an arrow next to those field names which denotes that we have an Excel table. Next step, click on the Insert tab and then left click on Pivot Table. We want to insert a pivot table. Our pivot table is based upon this information, which is in Table 1. We want it in a new worksheet. We're going to click OK. Now here's the key to pivot tables, is we need a valid Excel table with field names, and they're all listed here. All we're going to be doing is we're going to be dragging and dropping these field names into one of the 4 boxes below. So we have to look at what our objective was. And let's look at this table again. Our table is listing various toy names. We have dates, when those toys were sold, and also the hour of the day. So what we want to determine is what toys were sold by our store, and then what dates and the times that these toys were sold. So let's go back to our pivot table. We have our field names, and we're going to begin by finding the field called Toy Name. Here it is right here. Hold down the left mouse and drag and drop it underneath rows. So these are the toys that are being sold within our store. Right off, we had 1,000 records, and the pivot table was able to determine what the toy names are, or the types of toys. Next, we're going to go right back there to toy name, to that field name, toy name, and drag and drop it underneath values. And by doing that, we're going to get now a count of those toys. I want to have my field name showing, and how I do that is by clicking on the Design tab, Report Layout, Show in Tabular Form. So what we have right now is a listing of the toys and the count, and it is adding up to 1,000 records. Next, we're going to take date, the field name called date. We're going to drag it right over here. I'm going to move it up a bit, put it before toy name. So we have the dates, the names of the toys, and what the counts are. So we are, in fact, getting sales by date. Next, I want to group those dates. I want to find out what the sales were by month and also by year. And how I do that is by clicking within a date, right-click, group. Excel has determined that the starting off date was on January 7th. Then the end date was on 12/26/2012. So it's covering a couple of years. In order to have the grouping work properly, what we need to do is not only highlight months, but because we're going into multiple years, we also have to click on years. And I would recommend strongly that whenever you're trying to show months and years, to be on the safe side, always highlight months and years. We have our sales here by months and by years. And what I'm going to do next is take the years field and move it up into the columns area. What we have here right now is a fairly powerful pivot table that's giving us our sales by toy name within a month and also by year. So we're getting a count. So it's very powerful information here. What I want to do next is I want to look at this date field. I want to click on it, right click, go down to value field settings, and I want to create a custom name. Really, what this date is showing are the months. So I'm going to change that to months. So it's a more appropriate field name. So we have months, and it's been changed over here. What I want to get next is our actual sales by hour of the day. When did they occur? So what I'm going to do next is take the field name called time and drag it underneath toy name. So now we know our sales by month, the type of store, and then the actual time of the sales. Very, very powerful information. But there's just so many times, because eventually I want to show this on a chart, that what I'm going to try to do next, or what I am going to do, is I'm going to group those times by hour of the day. And how I do that is by clicking within one of the times, and we're going to group it. Right click, group. We want to show those times by hours, and I want to show them within a day. So hours and days, click OK. And now it's been broken down actually by the hour of the day. I'm going to make one cosmetic change here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this field name days that we just really created, click on it, and drag it out. We don't need that. So we have a pivot table that's showing our sales by month, the type of toy, then the hour of the day, when that sale was made. Very, very powerful information. Next, what I want to do is take this pivot table and insert a chart. And the chart is going to be showing us the sale by month time, and also year. So that said, in order to clean it up, and I don't want to have too much information showing on a chart. I don't want to have too much clutter, really. I'm going to take the field name, toy name, come down here and remove it. Hover over it, drag and drop it on the outside. So it's no longer showing. So we have a little bit less information. I'm going to click within the pivot table, Alt F1. That gives me my default chart. Alt F1. Here's our chart. We can now look at our pivot table, which is showing us the sale by time, by years. We have our chart, which is also showing us the information by month. Month, time. Once again, we can see where our sales are peaking, which would make sense. November, December, right at the holiday season. And once again, like I've given a title to that chart, toy sales by month, years, and hour. Next thing I'm going to do is, and I should have done it right in the beginning, I'm going to click within my pivot table, click on the Analyze tab, and I want to make sure that I name that pivot table. And we're going to go give it a name of Sales by Time. That's the name of our pivot table. Hit enter. The reason why I did that is I want to create a couple of slices, and I'm going to do that by clicking within the pivot table, Insert tab, click on Slicer. The slices that I want to use, months, and also years. Click OK. We have our slices. I'm going to drag them down a little bit. Put them over here. Second thought, let's move it up so we can see them. Years, make it smaller. Months underneath it. And we're ready to go. Click within the slices, right click, report connections. It's checked off here, indicating that the slices based upon the pivot table name sales by time. So we're all set on that. And the same thing will happen here. Right click, report connections. And once again, that slice is based upon the pivot table sales by time. If I click on 2010, my information will change. But more importantly, my chart has changed. And it's indicating when those sales are. Very, very powerful. It's in 2010. It's showing that they're peaking during November and December, and also the times in which they're peaking. Thank you very much.